The world of Aerthos trembled. Four mighty races stood poised on the brink of war. Darkness gathered on the horizon, threatening to consume all. The age of peace was over, replaced by an era of blood and fire. Towering mountains pierced the sky, their jagged peaks shrouded in mist. Vast forests stretched across the horizon, teeming with wondrous and dangerous creatures. This delicate balance was about to shatter, plunging Aerthos into unprecedented conflict. The fate of Aerthos hung in the balance, poised on the edge of a knife. The human kingdoms of Aerthos were bastions of civilization, their cities gleaming jewels amidst the sprawling landscapes. Stone walls reinforced with steel and magic protected bustling marketplaces and towering cathedrals. Human ingenuity had given rise to powerful weaponry and intricate armor. Their strength lay in their martial prowess and resilience. At the heart of human society lay a deep respect for knowledge and innovation. Scholars pored over ancient texts, seeking wisdom from the past. Artificers experimented with new technologies, pushing boundaries. This thirst for knowledge fueled their progress. The humans were a diverse people, united by resilience. Each community contributed to the rich tapestry of human culture. Despite differences, they understood the importance of unity. When war drums echoed, they rallied under a common banner. Their resolve was their shield, their unity, their sword. The minotaurs were proud warriors, their imposing physique a testament to their strength. Their thick hides resisted most weapons, and their powerful horns could gore armored opponents. They dwelled in vast labyrinthine fortresses carved into mountains. Minotaur society was rigidly structured, with a strict hierarchy based on strength. At the apex stood the Minotaur king, a figure of immense power. Beneath him were warlords, each commanding legions of elite warriors. The Minotaurs possessed a deep understanding of strategy and tactics. Across the vast grasslands of Aerthos roamed the centaur hordes, their nomadic lifestyle a testament to their freedom and adaptability. Born of the union between horse and human, they possessed the speed and agility of the former, and the intelligence and cunning of the latter. Their mastery of archery was legendary, their arrows raining down upon their enemies with deadly accuracy. Centaur society was based on clans, each led by a chieftain renowned for their wisdom and martial prowess. They valued freedom and independence above all else, their nomadic lifestyle reflecting their disdain for fixed settlements. The centaurs were masters of hit-and-run tactics, their speed and agility allowing them to harass and outmaneuver their enemies. Despite their speed and agility, the centaurs were not invincible. Their reliance on hit-and-run tactics could be ineffective against heavily fortified positions, and their independent nature made it challenging for them to unite against a common enemy. In the shadowed forests of Aerthos lurked the orcish tribes, a tide of green fury waiting to be unleashed. Their savage nature was legendary, their bloodlust a constant threat to the other races. They were brutes, driven by primal instincts and a thirst for conquest. Their crude weapons and armor were no match for the refined weaponry of their enemies, but their sheer numbers and ferocity made them a formidable force. Orcish society was tribal, with each tribe ruled by a warlord who had proven their strength in combat. There was little in the way of organized government or sophisticated culture. Their lives revolved around hunting, raiding, and warfare. They revered strength and brutality, valuing little else. The orcs were masters of guerrilla warfare, using the cover of the forests to ambush and overwhelm their enemies. Despite their ferocity, the orcs were not without their weaknesses. Their lack of discipline and organization made them vulnerable to more disciplined armies. Their reliance on brute force could be ineffective against cunning opponents. The uneasy peace that had existed between the four civilizations was shattered by a single act of violence. A border dispute between the humans and the minotaurs escalated into a bloody conflict. The minotaurs, feeling slighted by a perceived injustice, launched a surprise attack on a human settlement. The humans retaliated with swift and brutal force, their armies marching into minotaur territory. The spark had been ignited, and the flames of war quickly spread across the land. The initial conflict quickly escalated, drawing in the other races. The centaurs, seeing an opportunity to expand their territory, allied themselves with the humans, their swift cavalry harassing the minotaur flanks. The orcs, sensing weakness in their enemies, joined the fray. their savage hordes descending upon the human and centaur settlements. The war became a chaotic free-for-all, with alliances shifting and loyalties tested. As the war raged, ancient grudges and rivalries resurfaced, adding fuel to the fire. The leaders of the four civilizations, driven by ambition and a thirst for power, manipulated the conflict to their own advantage. The city of Silverwood, a jewel of the human kingdom, became a focal point of the war. Its strategic location and vast resources made it a prime target for the Minotaur legions. The Minotaurs, led by warlord Gorok, laid siege to the city, their battering rams pounding against the city walls. The defenders of Silverwood, outnumbered but resolute, fought valiantly, repelling wave after wave of Minotaur attacks. The siege raged for weeks, the city walls groaning under the relentless assault. The defenders, led by the courageous General Marcus, employed every tactic at their disposal, using catapults to hurl burning rocks and boiling oil upon the attackers. The Minotaurs, undeterred, continued their assault, their siege towers creeping closer to the walls. Inside the city, the citizens endured unimaginable hardships. Despite their suffering, the citizens remained defiant, their spirits unbroken. The siege reached its climax when warlord Gorok, frustrated by the stubborn resistance of the defenders, ordered his most elite warriors to breach the city gates. The Battle of the Broken Plains was the largest and most decisive battle of the war. The human and centaur armies, led by General Marcus and Chieftain Windrider, clashed with the combined forces of the Minotaurs and orcs, led by warlord Gorok and warchief Bloodfang. The plains echoed with the thunder of hooves, the clash of steel, and the roars of battle. The fate of Aerthos hung in the balance. The battle raged for days, a chaotic maelstrom of violence and carnage. The centaur cavalry, swift and deadly, harried the flanks of the Minotaur and orcish hordes. The human infantry, disciplined and well-equipped, held the center, repelling wave after wave of attacks. The battle reached a turning point when General Marcus, seeing an opportunity to exploit a weakness in the enemy lines, ordered a daring flanking maneuver. The human cavalry, led by the courageous Captain Valeria, charged into the heart of the enemy formation, disrupting their ranks and sowing confusion. The tide of the battle turned, the Minotaur and orcish forces beginning to crumble under the combined assault. As the war raged, whispers of betrayal and treachery began to spread through the ranks. Chieftain Windrider, growing weary of the war and fearing for the future of his people, secretly negotiated a separate peace with warlord Gorok's successor. The centaurs, under the cover of darkness, abandoned their human allies, leaving them vulnerable to a renewed Minotaur offensive. The betrayal of the centaurs was a devastating blow to the human forces. Outnumbered and demoralized, they were forced to retreat, abandoning hard-won territory. The war seemed to be turning against them, their hopes of victory fading with each passing day. Within the human ranks, a faction of nobles, led by the ambitious Duke Morian, plotted to overthrow King Theron and seize control of the kingdom. The orcs, sensing the disarray amongst their enemies, renewed their attacks, their savage hordes descending upon the weakened human settlements. The war finally came to an end, but not before exacting a heavy toll on all sides. The human kingdom, though victorious, was severely weakened, its cities in ruins, and its armies depleted. The Minotaur legions were shattered, their fortresses crumbling, and their leadership decimated. The centaur hordes, having betrayed their allies, were now outcasts, their nomadic lifestyle threatened by the loss of their grazing lands. The orcs, though defeated, remained a lurking menace, their savage nature undiminished. The land of Aerthos was scarred, its once vibrant landscapes transformed into battlefields and graveyards. The survivors struggled to rebuild their lives, haunted by the memories of the war. The human kingdom, though weakened, began the slow process of reconstruction, its citizens determined to restore their former glory. The war had changed Aerthos forever, reshaping its political landscape and leaving deep scars on its people. The war may have ended, but its echoes continued to reverberate throughout Aerthos. The seeds of future conflicts had been sown, and the fragile peace was threatened by lingering resentments and unresolved issues. The future of Aerthos remained uncertain, hanging in the balance. The human kingdom, though victorious, faced internal challenges. The betrayal of Duke Morian and his followers had exposed deep divisions within human society. King Theron, though still on the throne, was a weakened ruler, his authority challenged by ambitious nobles and disgruntled citizens. The minotaurs, though defeated, were far from broken. Their desire for revenge burned brightly, fueled by the memory of their losses. The centaurs, their nomadic lifestyle disrupted by the war, faced an uncertain future. The orcs, ever a source of chaos and destruction, continued to plague the land. The future of Aerthos was uncertain, a tapestry woven from the threads of hope and despair, of peace and conflict.